Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. After all the questions over the last few days as to whether Bleed Ye will finally become official, it was officially confirmed last night, and Ye has now responded in kind, explaining why he's come to this decision. Yes, money will have played a factor involved in this, no doubt about it. He does say that the financial instability of the Americas was a contributing factor, but he also believes he can get the best out of himself in the Pacific region. TenZ also responding to some criticism over the last few days. Very much enjoyed to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. First of all, there was some drama actually between the teams on their relative announcements. So Global Esports, Polvy's coming in, right? And look, Global Esports were baiting for some time about, oh, we're going to get Ye, going to get Aspas. The reality is I don't think anyone really ever expected that, to be honest. But Koho here, or Kojo, whatever, from Fnatic says that Global Esports turning into like 50% of the old Mad Lions 10-star roster. Interesting path after baiting about signing people like Ye and Aspas all offseason, basically roasting them and saying, yeah, Global Esports, they're not forming a particularly good team after saying they would. Now, you know, Global Esports have done a good job of the impression farming game. This is part of the game. If you can't actually sign Ye, you know, pretend you can't sign Ye, make the question known, talk about it a little bit. And to be fair, like one of the guys from Global Esports said quite a while ago that they tried to get Ye, or they at least opened the conversation with him, but he had another offer that was far more compelling that he decided to take. So, you know, I don't have an issue with the way Global Esports have operated here. Okay, maybe their roster, you could say, is slightly more underwhelming than you might have initially expected, but I still think they've done a pretty decent job, all things considered. So, interesting just to hear, you know, team director for Fnatic saying, oh, Global Esports haven't, you know, they're not forming a particularly good team. And we also had some comments as well from this guy, Mikhail, who said, this is so unserious, this is to bleed. But if you think this is anything more than a stunt, a publicity stunt, if you think this team will achieve anything, you are delusional. So very interesting comments, really. And then even Bleed Ominous replies and says, I used to respect this guy, but it seems like you're getting stupider each day. Fans are built on success and achievement, and we sure hell have earned ours in 2023 by grinding our way through Ascension, the analyst for the team. So, yeah, spicy comments on the future of these rosters. Bleed is a very interesting team, there's no doubt. I think there are some parallels to draw with the Guards, right, that are now G2 over in the Americas. A team that, you know, did very well and was expected to win Ascension. They did win Ascension. Are they going to be better? Like, even that Ascension winning team, would that be better than some of the lower tier teams in the Pacific? Probably yes. Would they be as good as the top dogs? Probably not. So it's kind of like the Guards, if that was to stay as a team of 5, would potentially be a middle-of-the-pack team in the Americas coming straight in. Now, Bleed have come in and decided, all right, we want better than that. They might not be Paper X, they might not be DRX or, you know, the top teams, but I think Bleed could be expected to be around the 3rd, 4th range. Like, Scary comes in, very talented player. They probably had to outbid some other teams for Egoist. Let's not forget, it was a few weeks ago, Egoist was actually linked to Paper X in place of course, Jing. They eventually got Monyet. Question as to whether Egoist was their first choice, right? Maybe Bleed Esports said, you know what, Paper X, you're not getting him because we're paying him the big bucks. So, you know, they have tried to do what they can to improve their roster, and now Ye comes in as well. So, look, I think Bleed Esports can and should be competitive. They should be a top 4 team in that region, and maybe a top 4 team in that region might be enough to qualify for some of the big international tourneys. But it might not be enough, because for Madrid, isn't there only 2 teams per region, I'm pretty sure, that qualify the first event of the season? So, yeah, it's going to take a tall order for these teams to make it. Now, Ye has commented on exactly why he's made this move. Now, you'd think the most part of the reason is the money, right? And we know that it's a 2-year deal. We believe it, there's big money involved. I mentioned some of the numbers yesterday, but actually the numbers that I mentioned yesterday might even be significantly less than they actually are in reality, and we'll get into that. But, you know, so he commented on this. His actual words were, watching the APAC and China games, their unique Valorant style intrigued me. I wanted to experience it to develop my game. And it's going to be interesting to see how this goes from Ye's perspective, because Ye's had a pretty unique and recognizable style that's worked very well, especially on Optic. But, you know, is Ye perfect in, you know, is Ye a plug-and-play player where you put him into a team without necessarily a system built around him? Will he be able to deliver? Not necessarily. Maybe Ye needs to develop his playstyle in that sense to be a little bit more versatile. So it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. But the other part I thought was maybe more intriguing, with all the financial drama in NA, moving to Singapore seemed right. And I'm sure, you know, the bank account seems right as well. But this is another another question that is relevant. Teams such as Sentinels, teams such as Evil Geniuses. We don't really know the circumstance with EG, but we're pretty sure that Cloud9 have cut budgets. 100 Thieves have cut budgets. NRG probably don't have infinite money to pay EG to get Demon 1 and Ethan out of their buyouts. So, you know, that might not happen. Sentinels, they're, you know, burning all this money every month. EG, they're cutting salaries. Like, it's all going on over there. And I think even Loud have said that they're not paying anything outrageous. Like, they just kind of pay what they can to get by. So, for all those reasons, if you get a big offer from the Pacific, it just makes a lot of sense. So, it's good to see from Ye that he's taken this offer. And let's not forget, this was the tweet, September the 24th, 2022, that Ye had had an offer for a contract worth $1 million a year. That was meant to be from Bleed Esports. And now that is true. Now, we don't know whether it's still $1 million a year, because $1 million a year, what are we talking about there? Like, what, 80 something, 86K a month? Probably more like 83 or 84K a month, actually. But yeah, that's roughly $1 million a year. And that is like so far in excess of what anyone else is making, right? I mean, we talked recently about, oh, the EG guys, they're making 25K a month. Like, that's crazy money. And that is big money. But yeah, $1 million a year. It's crazy. I don't think it's worth $1 million a year anymore. It might be, but I don't think that they needed to pay $1 million. They probably could afford it, but I don't think they would need to pay $1 million a year to Ye to make this deal happen, just because it'd be so much in excess. Like 500K a year is so much in excess. Let's say 40K a month. That's way more than anyone else can pay him in other regions right now. So I think that it's more likely they paid him something like 500K a year. But it is a 2-year deal, we think. So maybe it's a 1 mil over 2 years contract. I don't know. It's all speculation. But yeah, Ye got this offer last year. He said no, preferred to join. Of course, he went to Cloud9, but there was other options out there for him as well. This year, it just makes more sense. And, well, hopefully it works out for him. And there's no doubt that region is going to be fascinating with Something versus Ye. Just, you know, Pacific region's going to be spicy. Now, before we close, I definitely wanted to mention the TenZ kind of, there's been a bit of drama about this over the last few days. Sideshow did a 1 hour, 24-minute video explaining TenZ's issues as a player. The fact that if TenZ wasn't TenZ, if he wasn't called TenZ, if he turned up with a new name and, you know, a different face mask on or something to hide his identity, Sentinels wouldn't necessarily have kept him. TenZ's performances, you could argue, are on the borderline of being a player you'd want to keep on that roster if he wasn't called TenZ. Now, the reality is that he is TenZ, they want to keep him, makes a lot of sense, and TenZ does have a very high ceiling that he hasn't really reached in the last year or so. So Sideshow was giving plenty of examples as to why TenZ needs to improve, where he needs to improve, different agents, not over pushing, not over peaking, maybe getting out of the mentality of feeling like he has to do everything on the map, because he did on a previous iteration of Sentinels, but now he has better teammates, so it's less necessary, and maybe he does need to have some coaching to change his playstyle somewhat. Now, TenZ actually responded to this and said, look, I don't listen to any of these type of videos and these type of criticisms.
You see this Sideshow video? No, I haven't. I think I saw it on my YouTube feed though, but I didn't click it. I think I saw like a slight like synopsis of the video, just because I didn't have time to watch it. But also I don't like watching stuff of myself too often. Like on my free time. I try not to like click on anything. But I used to like when I played Counter-Strike and stuff, I used to read like basically anything and everything about myself. And I realized that it would kind of tank my mental. And I'd say for me, like I'm a lot more of like a person that requires, because I like, to be honest, I'm not like a cocky person, nor am I like the most confident person. So I can't like take any hits because I get kind of like low, I'd say, on myself. If I'm told to run in and like that's it, I will run in. Like I'll definitely like if someone like before, I mean I kind of low key tilted on like this specific strat, but like before we used to like have a strat in like Haven, and I would be like the spike planner. So my job as Jet would to be like to plant the spike and try to fucking live after I plant by like dashing away, and it was kind of rough. Isn't Reyna a perfect agent for you? I like Reyna a lot, but yeah, no, the best I've ever played in my life in either CS or in Valorant is when I'm like a second entry or like I'm able to support. I think I'm a lot more valuable as a support player than entry player, just because I'm not like my aim isn't let's say trying to like describe myself as a player is like kind of hard. I'm a lot better at trading than I am at opening, but I can't open, and I'm not like scared to just like run in and like dive. But I'm pretty good with my 50-50s, where if I'm able to take like 50-50s, I can kind of get away with winning them more often. And so that's why I don't really like doing that style. But it's like also kind of ironic because I like the ability to do free stuff. That's why I think like when I play Yoru and like when I play Yoru on my team, I can be both a support and also like a playmaker. Which Perfect World is really, really nice for me. It fits my playstyle a lot. But, it's not like fully practical to have a Euro on every map.
I think this is an intelligent way for TenZ to think and approach the situation. I imagine Sideshow would think similarly, saying that, look, it kind of taxes mental when he focuses on all the negative energy. Now, there's two sides to the story here. Firstly, TenZ really should just be listening to his coaching staff, right? Listen to your teammates, listen to your players. And sure, you can watch content like that from Sideshow and understand what his perspective is. Would it help TenZ? Not necessarily. Maybe TenZ should watch the video, but if he feels like it's going to make him conscious about certain things, he's probably better off just speaking to his coaches and to his teammates to think about the way that he wants to play going forwards. The other side of it is that, well, if you're not being super open to feedback and, to criticism, then are you going to improve and be the player you could be? There's two sides to it. TenZ believes the most intelligent way is just to avoid some of the criticism, which I totally get because, internally at SEN TenZ, they have the resources to get the best out of TenZ. But his numbers over the last season weren't as good as they were, let's say, Reykjavik 2021 and stuff like that. Primarily on the Jet, of course, that, wasn't quite as good on some of the other agents, not quite as good on the Rays, stuff like this. So some things to be worked on, I think, in TenZ's game if he wants to be, in the role that he plays. There's a lot of good players in that role, and TenZ needs to probably be a bit more versatile and consistent compared to some of his counterparts. Can they get that out of him this season? I think that they can, but I think there is maybe some extent to which the pressure is on TenZ to deliver here because, there were questions even over the last couple of years whether they would keep and whether they wouldn't, and, they're making upgrades elsewhere in the team, and the next change that you might look to make could be in that role. But the reality is that TenZ is TenZ, and SEN TenZ as a content org are probably not going to send him anywhere regardless. But very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.